There is so much power in experiencing what you don't want and what doesn't feel good. And a lot of times when we're talking about just creating our dream life, whatever that looks like for you, health, wealth, financial abundance, love, passion, all the things. We're always focusing, of course, on what we do want. But in order to know what we do want and actually sometimes what we think we want is actually not what we really want, which is why this is so important and so powerful. We need to know what we don't want. We need to experience what doesn't feel in alignment to our highest good. And when I say in alignment, don't get this confused with something that just doesn't feel good or uncomfortable because, you know, you could want to build your dream body and then feel uncomfortable meal prepping. Does it mean it's out of alignment? No. So it's really, really important on your self development, healing, growth journey to really be able to discern the difference between what just is uncomfortable and a part of growth and what is truly out of alignment for you. How you know the difference, we could talk about that maybe a little bit later. But today, I really want to talk about the power in experiencing what you don't want. And this is what we call contrast. Contrast or contrasting experiences pretty much is like, it's like basically experiencing the opposite. So, for example, um, let's say I really want to lose 20 pounds, build muscle, tone up, and I'm putting that out there and I'm doing research, I'm doing all these things and maybe I penny pinch when it comes to like I'm like doing all this research and now I'm ready to like hire someone to help me, but I'm being super like cheap about it. I'm like, okay, like I not really willing or maybe able to invest more than like X amount. And maybe it's like a super cheap amount, like $150 or something like that. Because that's very fucking dirt cheap. Um, but then you get an experience of like, what the fuck was this? Like, this is some booty ass shit. Like, they gave me a PDF. They barely check in with me. And that's not what I want. And so, through experiencing what you don't want, you now value investing in a more quality experience, right? Now, do you necessarily have to go through that to really know? No. But that person who values maybe investing a little bit more, um, I'm sorry, I meant to say that person who maybe is like, maybe they grew up like penny pinching, or maybe they just don't have a lot of experience in that field. They don't really sure. Um, then, they have to go through that in order to know what it is that they do want and what is important to them. Another example could be like dating. Okay. So maybe you're like putting out into the universe, like, okay, like this is the person that I want. I want them to be funny. I want to have sexual attraction. I want them to, I want to feel loyalty. Like I want all these things. And you're also embodying that, right? Because you can't want what you're not even embodying, right? But then you go on all these dates with these lames and you're like, oh my God, like you might get pissed, but at the same time, it's actually through experiencing what doesn't necessarily feel good, what doesn't feel right, that actually it allows your values to like shift and align and fit and strengthen more of what it is that you do desire, right? I mean, my last relationship, I thought that like, okay, maybe certain things could be different, like certain values, certain beliefs could be different. And 3 years into the relationship, I was like, this ain't gonna work. The truth was is that I valued my health, my fitness, keeping up with, my well-being and my appearance. And like I want to be in a relationship where we're in our 50s, bitch, and we're still turned on by each other. And this individual, you know, he started off that way. I don't know if it was just because like to get the girl type shit, but he did not value his health and fitness like at all. Like I would be over here meal prepping and he would be over here like, no, I just want mac and cheese. And there's nothing wrong with mac and cheese. But I was just like, bro, like, why are you eating like a toddler? Like, this is not attractive. And so, and look, I eat like a toddler sometimes, but y'all know what I'm saying. And so I got to the point where I was like, obviously there was more to it. Hello, hello. I got to the point where I was like, no, like I thought that like I could be with someone that doesn't really value training and doesn't really value their nutrition and doesn't really value getting haircuts every 2 weeks and, keeping up with themselves and shit like that. But I motherfucking do. And through that experience, I was like, I'm not going to settle. I know what I want. And it's through experiencing what maybe I didn't want that I know more of what I do want. So, when it comes to your fitness journey, your health and fitness journey, your business journey, whatever the case may be, you will only maintain and keep up with what you've worked for, what you appreciate. And nobody appreciates anything that was just given to them or attained very easily. This is why you see girls get BBLs and then like a few years later it's like what happened, or lipo, and it's like what happened, because they didn't change their habits, their values never changed, because all they valued was like how they looked on the outside. They didn't care about putting in the work. I don't care about going to the gym. I don't care about eating healthy. Just like put me under the knife and like I'm good. It's like it doesn't work that way. It's like signing a deal with the devil. There's always going to be like a you know, a debt to be paid at the end, right? And yeah, building your dream body and like playing the long game, it takes time and it takes effort and it takes alignment, it takes discipline, it takes consistency, it takes changing who you're being in the process, not just what you're doing, but like who you're being. AKA like when it's time to meal prep and you're like, eh. It's like, okay, well, that version of you that gets it done, what's her perspective on it? Is she moaning and groaning and complaining and, putting it off and all these things? Or is she have a different perspective? What's her perspective? Her perspective might be like, this is going to set me up for success. Yeah, it might take a little bit of effort, but like, shit, it's worth it because I'm going to crush my nutrition all week. I'm going to see and feel changes in my body and it makes my life easier. I'm not going to eat out. I'm not going to spend a bunch of money on shit that doesn't align. So you see how one area of your life will play a ripple effect into other areas like finances, and then who you attract, because like again, taking it to relationships, if you're the type of person who wants a man or a woman or somebody who does take care of themselves and prioritize their nutrition and has a nice body, and you're sexually attracted to them, all the things, but you're not doing that, it's like, no, boo boo, you ain't a match, right? And this isn't to sound like shallow or vain. I don't even know why I got to disclaim that, because I feel like a lot of us as women, we love to act like we don't care about that stuff. We motherfucking do. Okay, so claim that shit, because I think we all desire to feel like a hot fucking bitch. And I think we all desire to be in relationships where we want to like rip their clothes off, but also have the internal part of, loyalty and all of that shit. So, where are you settling in life? Where are you settling? Because wherever you're settling in life, you probably need to experience a little bit more of what you don't want and to know more of what you do want. And you probably need to just believe that what you do want is available for you. And that's all you need to do. You just have to make the choice that it is available for you. Um, that makes me want to do a whole podcast series on like the laws of the universe and all of that, because I remember when I wasn't exposed to that, I remember like my first like toxic ex, I really, really thought I couldn't find better than that. Like in terms of sexual attraction, in terms of like, girl, that the standards were to the floor. Okay. That's just because I wasn't exposed to it. I didn't know it was available to me. And now obviously look at us. So going back on track, you need to know what you don't want in order to know what you do want. You need to experience what doesn't feel good in order to get tired of your own shit, in order to be strengthened in what does, what is important to you, and to have that delayed gratification. Because I'll tell you right now, like we get so many one-on-one applications for coaching, and it's one thing to like apply, it's one thing to say, that you want a goal. It's one thing to say that like you want to lose weight and like get your goal body and feel your hottest self and wear the clothes you want to wear and you know build muscle and gain strength and have a healthy lifestyle or have the person or get financial freedom. And by the way, like I also do business coaching and mindset coaching for business coaches. So I see that too. Like it's one thing to say you want financial freedom and time freedom, but then when it comes to posting content, putting yourself out there, it's like all of a sudden that goes out the window. All of a sudden it's all about like keeping yourself safe. And this is what I help people overcome. But essentially it's like it's one thing to say it. You got to get to the place where you're tired of your own shit and the pain is higher than like what you're willing to um the pain has to be higher. What am I trying to say? Y'all know what I'm trying to say. The pain has to be higher than the the pain has to be higher in order for you to move. There's a missing piece to that sentence, but y'all know what I'm trying to say. I have not had breakfast yet. So literally brain is running off of fumes right now. I'm literally making breakfast as I'm filming this podcast. So let me get my English muffin out the damn oven before my ADHD ass burns it. Does anybody else with ADHD brain burn their food all the time? Anyway, knowing what you don't want to know what you do want. So I remember in my fitness journey, I literally thought I was just going to be a lazy bitch forever. I It wasn't, I guess, yeah, I guess you could say I was lazy because I had just had low motivation. You know, like I was typical like skinny fat, uh just really like I would work out, I would eat out most of the time and just try to make quote unquote healthy choices. Really those healthy choices were like 1,000 calorie choices, but I just, I would the way my life looked was I would wake up, get coffee, go to work all day, order out, Carrot Express, or something nearby because I worked in South Beach. I would, do that, watch a little Netflix, scroll on my phone at lunch, come home, be too quote unquote tired to go to the gym. It would be such a pain in the ass to take my ass to the gym. And I would go some days. And those are the days that I was highly motivated, but it was very inconsistent. Some days I'll go 3 days a week, and that was like, damn, girl, you did that thing. And so obviously, as you can see, it's a process, but you get to the point in your life where you're just like tired of your own shit. You're just tired of the same shit. You're tired of like feeling the way you feel and not feeling confident in your body. And when you're wearing work clothes every day and you're wearing like the same shit every day, it's easy to just kind of ignore it. But when it's time to go out and you don't feel cute, or, it's time to go to the beach and you feel bloated and your friends want to take pictures and you're like, and then you take pictures and you're like, what the fuck? I'm sorry, this is just so real right now. Like, you deserve the latter, but you got to experience that for yourself. And actually, you know, it's important that pain drives you, and it can't be the only thing that's driving you. Because how many times have you like gotten the fuck up because of pain? Like, okay, I'm going to change my life. I'm going to, do the thing. I'm going to, hire a coach, or I'm going to, do this thing. And then it's like, okay, you start to feel better. You start to look a little better. You start to make some progress, start to lose some weight. And then the pain is gone. And now that the pain is gone, what happens? You slowly start to go back to those old habits. So this is why we tell our clients at Embody Her one-on-one coaching program, like, it's okay if pain is driving you, but when it comes to your vision and where you want to be, there has to be like a vision that you're working towards. It can't just be that you're just trying to move away from pain. And so while experiencing what you don't want is so powerful, and knowing what you do want and strengthening the values of how you do want to feel, like say on the weekends, every single weekend you don't really want to drink, you don't really want to, overeat or overdo it, and you do it, and then you wake up Monday feeling bloated, sluggish, brain foggy, you know, just not starting Monday in the best headspace because of the weekends. It's experiencing that like ill feeling that makes you prioritize and value more actually like taking care of yourself more on the weekends, having better boundaries and structures, routines on the weekends, right? Like if I stay up till 2 a.m. and I know we ordered in midnight cookies late, and I wake up, Sunday or Monday feeling like sluggish, brain foggy, I'm not my best, for work. I'm less motivated to show up for myself because of that, because your gut and your brain is connected. Um, well then, like that doesn't feel good. And so through knowing what doesn't feel good, now I'm gonna value more. I'm gonna value way more. After plenty of times of having shitty weekends, I'm gonna value way more actually taking care of myself on the weekends. And then when I feel good, I'm like, damn, like this feels good. Unfortunately, the way that our primal brain works is that pain is significantly more powerful in motivation than pleasure. Like pleasure is like, oh my God, yay, like I feel so good right now. And then it's almost like, okay, I feel good, so now I can fuck it up. It's like, no, like I was talking to my brother the other day, and he's like competing for a show, and he's like, should I get a cheat meal? It's been 2 weeks since I've had a cheat meal. I'm like, I don't fucking know. Ask your coach. You're prepping for a show. Like, you're going to give yourself, by the way, guys, as a coach, I hate the word cheat meal. I don't even use it with my clients. I just think it's so outdated and old. Like, it just creates the story that, like, the foods that you're eating are quote unquote bad, or like cheating on your diet. Like, you cheat on people, not your food. Like, food has no moral value. It's just more nutritious, less nutritious. But I knew what he meant, and he is in a bodybuilding show, so it's a lot more stricter, and there's really no wiggle room to like be off track. He's like, well, it's been 2 weeks. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? It's been 2 weeks since I've had a free meal. I'm gonna give myself one then because I'm due. It's like that isn't, what the fuck does that mean? It's like when you're taking a break from alcohol and you're like, well, I haven't had it for 2 weeks, so now's the time. It's like, why do we do that as humans? Because pain is more like, it's more painful to the brain. And the brain is all about avoiding pain. But if we want to hack the system, if we want to go from surviving and looping and being so cyclical, like just in a cycle and a loop, then we need to focus on like, okay, what are we moving away from? And then once that pain is gone, like what's driving us forward from there? And it has to be that vision. This is why we have our clients anchor in a vision consistently of like how they want to look, how they want to feel, the clothes they want to wear, like, obviously their body and their best potential. And even deeper than just like the body and physical, how you look, like a lot of our girls, like they obviously care about like how they feel, and, the habits that they're building and the character traits that they're building. And that comes from practice. Okay. And so I hop on potential client calls every day with a woman, and I ask them, you know, what's your goal? We talk about their goal. They want to lose fat. They want to build muscle. They want to feel confident again. They want to feel good. And I'm like, why is that important to you? Oh, because, everyone in my family, I just want to be an old age girl. You know damn well. I love that you don't want to be like your family. I love that your dad has high blood pressure and you don't want to be like that. But you know damn well that's not why. Like, please. Okay. And so then I'll hear, well, I just don't want, like, we're focusing on like what we want to move away from. I want to move away from generational illness. I want to move away from, the possibility of being in my 50s and being like not confident and regretting every single day I didn't take care of myself, and having health issues, and, not feeling confident in my body and my skin and all of these things. And then I'll ask them like, hey, like, do you notice how I asked you what you want and you showed me what you don't want? And that is contrast. And so it's easy to know what you don't want. But what's going to keep you driving is also highlighting what it does look like of how what it does look like in a world of having what you do want and playing in that and anchoring in that. Okay, so the power of contrast and experiencing contrast is that it strengthens your values. It makes you more consistent. So quite literally, guys, like in my journey, I have never always like I have struggled with consistency. Like it I have not popped out. Like it was hard for me. Hard. And I'm very grateful that I had coaches in my corner. I would not have gotten to where I am today without coaches and mentors. Like fuck no. It just was not going to happen. I no. But it took me again years of wasting my time trying to do everything on my own that I needed that to be like, damn, like I do need help. And again, that is contrast. Now, while we're in the topic of talking about what doesn't feel good and the power of experiencing what you don't want, I do want to talk about triggers. So, when you get triggered by something, you get defensive, or you feel like you got to defend something, or like you're in denial, or I've been triggered before. I've been triggered by my mentor where I was like, I totally, maybe you take something as a personal attack. Nobody's attacking you. Your ego is just like trying to defend itself and its belief systems. I mean, talk about politics with someone and you'll see everybody get triggered, right? So triggers are not bad. Triggers, and I have another podcast episode all about this, the power of like how you turn something seemingly negative into a positive and transforming that. You just got to scroll down my podcast. But your triggers come with a gift, and that gift is an area of healing. It's an area that wants to be looked at. So, for example, if I say that I am being really, really, consistent, and then my mentor tells me you're not, like you have good intentions, but these are the areas that we're not showing up, and I get triggered by that, I need to look within myself of like, that's a good thing. Like, ooh, I got triggered. Like anytime I get triggered now, I am so aware that I'm like, ooh, what's that? Like that triggered me. I wonder why. Like what about it triggered me? And if I look in, it's like, oh, I got triggered because it made me feel like I'm not good enough. Am I not good enough? No, I'm taking something as a personal attack, right? That's my inner child, like my inner critic being triggered, feeling like I'm not good enough and, I'll never be capable. And it's like, nobody said all of that. We just need to be more consistent in these areas. But it's just so funny how the ego like gets so like defensive at times. So think about the areas in life that you get triggered or upset about. And that is a beautiful way and a beautiful example of like the power of experiencing what you don't want or doesn't feel good, because it's going to point you the direction of what needs healing or perspective shift or something in you that wants to be seeked out and transformed. Okay, so I'm going to read to you guys a few passages from Ask and It Is Given. And it is all about contrast and basically creating the life you desire. So let's make sure this makes sense. Okay. So let's get into it. By now, you have no doubt discovered that life is an experience of contrast. Everything about the world in which we live is based on the coexistence of opposing forces: internal and external, feminine and masculine, darkness and mic died, so now I'm going to switch to my phone, so hopefully the audio is still fine. Even the axis around the earth rotates is determined by opposing north and south poles. Polarity is intrinsic to our experience of life. It's universal. On a personal level, what this means is that if you were to think about something you desire, whether it's something material, like a new car, or something immaterial, like being in love, the experience of you having it and not having it both exist simultaneously. In the same way that when half the planet is covered in darkness, the other half is illuminated by the sun's light. The possibility of you having what you desire exists right along the possibility of you not having what you desire. Having and not having are inseparable, like the front and back of a hand. An interesting thing happens when we acknowledge something we desire, and it happens whether this acknowledgement is made out loud or only to ourselves. The universe hears and responds to our vibration, regardless of whether it is ever verbalized. We can go into the science of this in another episode, because this is all science, by the way, guys. Quantum physics, baby. The moment a new desire is born within us, the moment that we become aware of a longing to experience something bigger, better, different, deeper than we are now experiencing, it heightens our awareness of the fact that, in the present moment at least, what we desire is not yet a part of our experience. In other words, desire generates contrast. Contrast is what we experience when something shows up in our outer or inner world that is out of alignment with what we desire to create. Sometimes it manifests as an immediate unwanted situation. An event you've been looking forward to falls through at last minute. Other times, contrast shows up as an accumulation of mildly aggravating factors. Hitting every red light on your way to an important meeting, encountering an exceptionally rude waitress, or just having one of those days where you're constantly dropping and bumping into things. Whether it shows up something mildly irritating or majorly troubling, or whether we experience it as the absence of something wanted or the presence of something unwanted, contrast serves a very specific purpose. It draws our attention to a discord that exists between our inner desires and our outer reality. And this discord creates a point of tension that is registered in our bodies and minds as a feeling of discontent. But it's from this very point of tension that an intention is born, and with a clarity that can only arise from a raw, unfiltered, powerful signal that is transmitting instantaneously through every fiber of our being. I want something different. I want something more. Ooh, I got goosebumps. Now, this is literally tying back to what I was saying earlier, because we're going into this next part. What happens next is very, very important. So you're experiencing something that you don't want. You know, have more clarity and intention of what you do want because of that contrasting experience. But what happens next is so powerful in attracting what you do want. Because here's the thing about manifestation, guys, and fucking A, manifestation, such a trendy word. Like, I'm going to do a whole podcast around it, the truth behind it, the reality of it, what the fuck it really means. You're always manifesting. You're always attracting. It's not something you need to sit and do. It's just about channeling your energy where you want it to go through self-awareness, through understanding quantum physics and the laws of the universe and just how the world works. Okay. And like, if you're Christian or, all of this shit's connected. Like, it's literally, I could go into a whole rabbit hole around that. Okay. Jesus talks about it, all the things. We can talk about that another day. But what happens next depends almost entirely on how we choose to respond. How we choose to respond to the discontent generated by contrast. Okay? Because fun fact, you attract in your life, you magnetize what you focus on, what you are a vibrational match to, not just what you want. Like, you could want something all you want, but if your focus is on how hard it is and the lack and what goes wrong, you're only going to attract more of that. You can want, a healthy relationship and all these things, whatever. But if your focus, your subconscious, whether it be subconscious or conscious, is on the latter, on the opposite, your brain is going to filter. You have to understand, our brain is a filter. It's going to filter out what we are focusing on. So if I say, literally, maybe even do this as kind of an experiment, whatchamacallit? What's a good kind of example? Okay, this is a good example. Cheating. Everybody cheats. Every man cheats. Like if you're somebody or you know somebody that always says that all men ain't shit, everyone cheats, they probably have shitty experiences, because I've been there where I definitely was like that. And it just comes from pain. But what starts to happen? You start filtering out. See, this couple happens. Oh my God. Now you start to hear all these horror stories. And it's like, it's because your brain is filtering for it. That's just how our brain works. So staying on track here, we're experiencing contrast. What happens next depends almost entirely on how we choose to respond to the discontent generated by contrast. I'm still reading from this book. If we choose to focus only on what's wrong or on the lack, on what we don't have yet or what we feel like we're lacking, that focus will act like a filter that will keep us from seeing any other possibility. If I am focused on things are slow right now, my brain will continue to see, my brain won't see opportunity. I have to focus on, I have to focus on what I want to help my brain filter possibility, opportunity. If on the other hand, we use the contrast, we use the power of experiencing, and this is the power of experiencing what we don't want. If we use the contrast of what we don't want to bring us clarity about what we do, we become more magnetic to the having of it than the not having of it. And we quite literally draw that possibility into our experience. Whether it be you get like a nudge to call somebody or go somewhere, or maybe you're just like, I just want to go to the bookstore today. Like you have no intention. I'm just going to go, and you meet somebody. Or, you're scrolling on your For You page and my page pops up talking about how you don't have to cut out carbs. And it's been what you've been looking for all your life. No, I'm kidding. But you quite literally draw that possibility into your experience. Your brain is filtering for it. The subconscious mind is so fucking powerful, guys. It's literally like a pet, and you can use it to your advantage. It's literally working either for you or against you. So the important thing to remember is that anytime life presents us with an experience that is other than the experience we want, we are faced with a fundamental choice. We can focus on and complain and bitch and moan about all that appears to be falling apart. I'm not trying to be cold here because I've been there. And anytime y'all hear me get a little spicy, it's because I'm talking to a past version of myself. And that's just like my personality. So get over it. I'm kidding. I love you. Or we can use that we can use that contrast to clarify exactly what we want to rebuild in its place. Okay? So fitness journey, fat loss journey. I feel like I'm doing everything and it's just so hard to lose fat and I just never gonna get there. It's okay if you feel that way sometimes. It's totally valid to feel that way sometimes. I mean, you gotta be patient with yourself and becoming someone you've never been before. It's okay. Your feelings are valid. Like, I love you. And I'm sorry, but we need to take some radical responsibility. We got to step outside of ourselves and we need to focus on what we can do. Are you just going to give up? No. If you're not going to give up, what's actually going to be the most productive thing for you? The most productive thing for you is not complaining, bitching, and moaning, feeling sorry for yourself, laying curled up in a bed and feeling stuck and like you can't change your life. Watching the seconds and the minutes and the moments pass by, knowing that you're in control of certain things and just feeling sorry for yourself. What will be productive, what is going to be productive for you is shifting into what is within my control. Even if that means praying for a second and just filling up your spirit first. Because again, I've been there, I've been down in the dumps. I felt that victim, and just feeling hopelessness. And I definitely can't just take action. I have to fill my spirit first. So even when I would struggle with depressive states, I would just go on YouTube, play some frequencies. That's my action. These frequencies gonna have to raise my vibration because I ain't feeling it. And then I slowly move my way out. And then I slowly start to affirm to myself how I want to feel. Like who, like how would that version of me show up right now? How would she respond to this? What would my higher self say or do? Again, if you're a Christian, like what would Jesus do type shit? You know what I'm saying? Like you get the vibes now. So at every moment and with every thought and emotion we offer, we are breathing life into one of two realities, a reality that we dread or reality that we desire. And so the power of experiencing what you don't want is contrast. And contrast is in contrasting experiences does not mean that you're failing. If you keep doing the same shit, I promise you it's a part of your process. Failure is not separate from success. Failure is within the structure of success. I don't know one fucking person that has actually succeeded in anything in their life that has not failed over and over and over again. The problem is you cannot identify and make failure. Like you are not a failure. You may have failed at certain things, right? You may be able to do a little bit better on the weekend this time around. You may have failed the weekend last weekend. You are not a failure. Okay? Those feelings of shame and guilt is not all that bad. Guilt means that you acted out of alignment with the deeper desire or value. Okay? Guilt is I did something wrong, or I did something out of alignment, or I did something that didn't feel good. And that's normal. We need that shit. That's contrast. Shame is I am bad. I am wrong. Oof. And that is the lowest vibrational state you can be in. So remember that contrast is a powerful invitation to believe in ourselves and to keep working toward our success, even in the absence of tangible evidence of our success in the moment. It is to live within the certainty that even when we lose our footing, and we will, that we will find it once again. And that it's a part of the process. It's not you taking 10 steps back. It's literally a part of the process. Do you know how many times I fucking fell off track? Bruh, look at my YouTube. Go to my YouTube channel. I probably have like 20 vlogs that say like, get back on track. Get back on track with me. Because girl, we all go through it. You need to experience that oscillation. You need to experience what you don't want, what doesn't feel good. Now, don't take this as an excuse to just fuck off and be like, oh, well, Lexi said, I got to experience what I don't want. But that's what it's all about. Oh, guys, if this is really hitting for you, supporting you, please leave a comment below. Please leave a review, a rating. I'm really trying to grow this podcast. And if this is giving you guys value, imagine how much more people this can help. And I just appreciate you guys so fucking much for just being here, getting value, giving me feedback, because it means so much. It's holding the image of a giant blossoming. It's holding the image of a giant blossoming tree firmly in our minds, even as we press its fragile little seed into the soil. I love that analogy. It's like you're planting the seeds, but in your mind, it's holding the image of that outcome, of that giant blossoming tree that has apples and fruits and oranges. And I don't know any tree that has all of those in one. This is my tree, bitch. This is my tree. My tree gives me what I want. My tree got fancy lip gloss dripping down and $100 bills. Okay. So it's holding the image of where you want to be and that desired reality and embodying that now. It's not losing sight. Because when we are focused, and this is in your control, because your brain is going to focus on what it's going to focus on. Our brain has a negativity bias, a bias towards lack and negativity, because it's just trying to keep us alive. You have to be the controller of your mind. You have to channel your thoughts where you want it to go. And the way you do that is by focusing on what is within your control as you hold the image in your mind of where you want to be. Okay? Even if you don't know what that looks like yet, feel in how that would feel like, and you embody that. It's having faith in what is still invisible to everyone around us while knowing in our hearts that we are right in this moment, in this process of manifesting it into being. This is using contrast in the way it was intended as a catalyst for attracting and embodying and the values of what you do want and what is important to you and how you do want to feel instead. So thank all the fuck boys that fucked you over in the past, or the fuck girls, because they showed you where you lacked self-respect. They showed you where you were naive. They showed you your blind spots. Thank all the people, all the situations, all the jobs that you fucking hated, because it got you closer to what you're meant to do in this life. So if you're in a place of uncertainty in your life, you're not sure what's next, maybe you're doing the work, and again, maybe you're making progress, but you do experience a lot of that self-doubt sometimes. Remember that is just part of the process, and that actually is a beautiful sign that you are right where you need to be. Okay? All right, y'all. That wraps it up for today. I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day. Again, if you got any value from this, takes 2 seconds, leave a rating, leave a review. Let's grow the fuck out of this podcast, guys. Like, this is up to you guys. Y'all are fam. I know this give you guys value. And if there's any other episodes you would like to hear, just let me know. I love you guys. Have an awesome rest of your week. Let's fucking get it.